So we go around the Hudson Valley and we monitor Native American sites. We explore and find new Native American sites. This is all in prevention of vandalism. So we would clear fire rings. We would educate anyone camping in there, remove graffiti, remove trash, things of that nature. Just making sure that the Native American history isn't erased by the drunken fool.
Yeah.
A recent place that we just found, so maybe found about 2 weeks ago. There's a brand new site, was actively being raided. There is 2-foot trenches all throughout the front of this shelter. And whoever was this person, they had camping gear, hunting gear, and they made screens to sift through the dirt to find pottery and different arrowheads and different artifacts.
The bushwhacks were some of the worst days I've ever had in the mountains, or life, really.
Whereas Panther Mountain is totally opposite. It's a mountain on top of a crater.
I think the weather challenges on this incident were particularly difficult.
It is really the development of New York State. Catskills were responsible.
Now you're listening to Inside the Line, the Catskill Mountains podcast.
It's like the DEC podcast, man. Well, it's nothing like the DEC. They get like thousands and thousands of people. No, we get nothing.
The DEC has paid listeners. That's what they have.
Like the Joe Rogan of the East Coast. That's what it is.
I heard if you're busted for violating one of the rules and regulations, camping where you're not supposed to, pooping or peeing within 150 feet of a trail, the punishment is you need to listen to 2 episodes if you're a first offender. That's what I heard. I haven't seen it in writing. It just might be some false information, but that's how I heard they're building their listener base.
Hey, good for them. Good for them. We'll see what exactly. Has anybody listened to them, by the way? Like, to you guys?
Well, yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I did get caught doing something too close to the trail. I won't say if it was number 1 or number 2, but I had to listen to a couple episodes. That's how I know this. Yeah. It wasn't so bad. The punishment wasn't bad. I just kept hitting the fast forward button. Was done with it in no time.
We'll have to. I'll have to listen to it. My friend that I work with, she says she listens to it and she says it's, sorry DEC, but it's very important because you guys got certain parameters that you have to stay in. We don't have that.
We just need to back up. You said a friend that I work with listens to the competing podcast.
She listens to our podcast too.
So you still consider her a friend, even though she's in part a traitor.
100%. That's a tease.
All right.
We're all friends with the DEC. Come on.
You're easy. You're too easy. Danny, I hope you put up a fight. Stosh is just rolling over already. He hasn't even started recording yet, and he's this
is recording 100%, 5 minutes in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So 127. Welcome to episode 127 of Inside the Line, the Catskill Mountains podcast. Tonight we're going to do listener spotlight. First time ever with this, and I thought I would start with the first time ever with a guy who has been following me, I guess, which is pretty scary as of now. His name is Danny, Mighty Mischievous on Instagram. He's a cool mofo. I was going to say the other word, but and he's done a lot of stuff throughout the Catskills and through the Hudson Valley. A lot of time volunteering and stuff. So we're going to have him on tonight. He definitely deserves it. And welcome to the show, Danny.
Hi, guys. Nice to meet you.
Hey, Danny.
How you doing?
Very good. Thank you. Very little warm today. This whole week's a little warm, but we're getting there.
Yeah. And that brings up my thoughts. Do you guys have any like hot summer day hiking tips? Because it's been high 80s. What about you? Let's go, Danny. Let's go with you. You got any tips for the hot summer hiking?
I have heat issues, so I can overheat very easily. I bring one fully frozen liter of water, and then my first drink is a half frozen liter of water. And then usually by the end of the day, you still have a little bit of frozen ice left in there. And if those 2 liters aren't enough, then you throw another third liter in there, but you have to go with frozen water.
Nice. That's smart. Very smart. Tad, what about you?
Well, I lose points on this one for not planning ahead and freezing my water, but I start off with more than 3 liters. I mean, I pour it down and sweat it out as fast as I can pour it down, it seems. So there's many a times I'll have to dip down and find water on a hike to replenish. 3 liters on a hot day, not going to be enough for me.
Yeah. There's always the backup filter for those amazing Catskill creeks that you don't even need to filter. My friends make fun of me because sometimes I don't filter.
Yeah. You say Catskill creeks. Well, you don't find those until you're like below 2,800, 2,600. They're usually pretty far down in the mountain.
That's true. Yeah. There's also some of those watering holes up on the top of the mountains.
Well, let's just call them what they are. They're bogs. They're like little swamp, marshy areas, and you can probably get like a half a liter per filter right before your filter clogs up. But when you're thirsty, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Water's water.
Exactly. Water will keep you alive. You know, the one thing that I do when it starts getting really hot out is, of course, I always freeze my bladder, my water, my hydration pack. I freeze it, and then I always have a huge amount of just ice that I freeze and pour it in there right before I go. I pour it in the bladder, probably halfway up, fill it up with water, turn the bladder upside down, put it into a cooler so it doesn't freeze on the end of the tip of where the hydration filter or the hydration tube goes in. And then on the whole way there, it's always just surrounded by frozen stuff, the frozen packets or stuff like that. So it stays cold. So I never have basically a warm water until basically near end. And that's what it was when I did Wittenberg and Balsam Lake today or the other day.
So before we move off the topic of hydration, packing in water, filtering and carrying water around on the trail, have you ever brought home water that you harvested when you were in the Catskills? Right, Danny?
I'm not going to say that. No,
up and down. Yeah.
Not the DEC is going to get me on that one.
Yeah,
no.
as long as you get it from a permitted and approved area, you're okay.
From a spring.
Absolutely. Yes, right. Yes, from an approved source, and you're not reselling it. But so let it sit around for a few months and see what happens. Okay, I have right here in my home office, I have a little experiment off to my right. It's from last fall. I grabbed this water.
Can we see?
Yeah. All right. I'm going to show you.
We want to see.
Man, he had to do this, man. Now you're giving him the spotlight.
I want to see what's growing in this because
okay. So all right. So what's the over under? Who's projecting that it's going to have green algae? Let's see, these squiggly things crawling around in it, and I don't know, a shark.
I'm a negative on all of that.
Oh, nice. Look at that. Crystal clear water.
Yeah, it's crystal clear. It's perfect. And this is the water. This is the water, if we previously have discussed, that they make those delicious bagels and New York City pizza from. This is it. So this has been around, what's that, 6 months now? 8 months? 8 months.
What?
Yeah.
Where is that from?
Where's it from? It's from the Never Sink.
Nice. Yeah. Best
East
water
Branch.
in the freaking.
Yeah, it is.
Wow. Excellent.
Okay. I'm putting it back for another 6 months. Stay tuned.
On. Yeah. So hot summer days are coming. So be prepared with keeping yourself hydrated, number one, and keeping yourself cooled. Number two, that's why I put the ice in my hydration bladder and, keep it cool during the day so I can drink a lot and it feels good. It cools me down and stuff like that because these past few summer days have been warm as heck. So let's see. Rangers, let's look news up in, not in the Catskills, but up in the Adirondacks. Rangers find an 11-year-old boy after being separated on Whiteface Mountain in the Adirondacks. Whiteface Mountain's pretty popular mountain. Of course, you can drive all the way to the top. There's a ski center up there. So on May 26th at 6:20 p.m., so we're getting late in the day, Forest Ranger Lewis notified about an 11-year-old from Webster separated from a hiking group descending Whiteface. 5 rangers responded at around 7:15 p.m. Ranger, that's a tough name. I'm going to say P. Ranger P found the subject off the hiking trail and reunited with their hiking party. That's, I got to admit, pretty scary going on Whiteface because that's a huge, tall peak, number one. And 11-year-olds just flying off of the limbs and just going down anywhere on Whiteface would be absolutely tragic. They got lucky.
Yeah, what a sensitive age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great intro to hiking for the 11-year-old. He went out and bought an Xbox the next day.
Well, I don't know. You beat that. You could beat anything else pretty much.
Well, I don't know if he's thinking that way at the age of 11, but maybe when he gets older, he'll realize, hey, I can overcome adversity and the inattention of my parents.
I mean, Whiteface is a pyramid shaped peak. So it's like you go down, you instantly go down. Like it's not like you go low, like elevation gain is like low. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, I think for a ski area, Whiteface Mountain has the most vertical drop of any ski area in the Northeast.
Wow.
Although it's not the highest, it has the most prominence of ski areas and the most vertical drop in the Northeast.
Yeah. And it's separated from the other high peaks of the Adirondack so far that just it peaks out there just out of nowhere. So crazy instance, of course. Imagine how insane that search would have been if the 11-year-old wasn't found within a couple hours.
All I know is I can't speak for these parents, but if I was out hiking with my daughters when they were that age and I had to report to my wife that I lost one of the kids, I wouldn't be here tonight with you guys on the podcast. Okay.
I'm pretty sure you wouldn't have reported it.
Yeah, I would have reported it, but it was, for a parent to lose their child out in the woods like that, that's really hard.
I mean, that's absolutely insane.
Yeah. So, but they're fortunate. I mean, had it been like a month and a half before, it would have been dark by 7, maybe close to 7. So they had plenty of daylight this time of year.
Snow, stuff like that, ice. It would have been absolutely insane up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. So once again, we have some really crazy stuff coming up with the ultralight backpackers. I can't, they just keep coming up with stuff day after day, these ultralight people of just new occurrences that they use. So I read this article that say ultralight backpackers are using large sponges as pillows now just to cut down on the ultralight. A lot of these ultralight people are just doing anything and everything they can to shave off the pounds that they can cut, not even pounds, grams that they could cut to hike ultralight. And apparently these sponges, which you see in Walmart, any area to wash your car, big sponges, probably size of your 2 hands and stuff like that, are being used for pillows. Now, I don't find them. I have one of those for washing my car, and I don't find it that comfortable at all. But these people, this article, which was on Backpack Magazine, said that they tested it out. It weighed half at 54 grams. So that was half of the weight of their actual pillow that they get to pack, their micro pillow, I guess. It was microfiber. So it's a little extra spongy on the outside. So it's not like it's one of those hard sponge pillows. $4.99 compared to a backpacking pillow that is $20 to $65. So that's definitely a budget cutter right there. And, I really can't say that I would definitely do this, but I have ultralight backpacking pillows that I kind of like because you can kind of inflate and deflate to your kind, but a sponge, no, it doesn't sound like it.
So I'm going to put Danny on the spot here and ask him, let's suppose, Danny, you're out there with your ultralight gear and your car wash. I'm a cheapskate. and too thrifty to buy a real pillow to go backpacking with, and you just hammered out 25, 30 miles on the trail, you're ready to hunker down for the night, and you bury your head in a car wash sponge that probably
sponge.
yeah, this one's green in the article, but I imagine that it has some like industrial chemical odor to it, right? Because it wasn't made for people to bury their face in after they've been hiking or backpacking all day. So here you are, you're out in the middle of the nowhere in the wilderness, you're tired, you cuddle up with this industrial odor sponge. What do you think? Is it still a good idea?
I think you'd probably need to rinse it a few times because when you buy regular house sponges, they're soft, but when you dry it out on your counter, they're rock solid. So there's definitely something in there from shipping.
That's part of the break-in period, is what you're saying. You got to
there's a process to their weight loss.
I got it. So it's like the old days when you would buy a pair of leather hiking boots, you'd have to break them in before you took them on the trail.
There you go.
That's what I'm hearing. He's too young. He wouldn't know about that.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, he's
why are you saying
like here? Yeah, let's send him an electrical jolt. So yeah, there you go. So I don't know. I don't know if I'd be so weight conscious. Back in my backpacking days, I would just wad up a bunch of clothes.
Yep, that's what I do.
And put my head in that. I wouldn't bother with the backpacker's pillow, a car wash sponge, or anything else.
They definitely do some unique things. Bring a tarp rather than a tent, or bring a blanket rather than a sleeping bag. Things you wouldn't expect, but they want to get as light as possible. Yeah. No flashlights. Go by the moon.
Why not? That's insane. Yeah, I can't. Sometimes I agree with these people. With ultralight. I packed with that Pemi loop that I did. I had 39 pounds on that, and I don't know, say I regret it, but it was tough. But going with a sponge, that takes up a lot of space. That sponge doesn't compact to like. Sorry, I still got the cough, but it doesn't compact down to like a inflatable pillow does. But like some of this stuff, like you said, people go with tarps instead of a tent and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure. Being on search and rescue, I have to carry a tarp with me and a tent. The tarp doesn't even pack as good as the tent, not at all. So, Jesus, what the hell is wrong with me?
I'm renewing my thoughts that Stosh is allergic to podcasting.
No, I think I'm allergic to my freaking house. It's whenever I come to my house.
You're breaking out in hives now, too. I see that.
It's whenever I come to my house. It's like I start coughing. So no matter in the wilderness, it's nothing. Yeah. So, but ultralight, you guys need to like shave it off. Come on, stop going that crazy. So, all right. So once again, what is this going on? Tad, you got something going on here?
Yeah,
you put this in like last second. Jesus.
Yeah, this was a last minute add-on.
Nice.
A couple weeks ago, you pointed out how Ulster County has, I think, 3 or 4 bus routes running this summer. And another thing that apparently is going on in the area is the New York State Parks and Recreation and Historic Preservation Organization is pleased to announce its outdoor summer concert series called Twilight Music in the Parks, to be held on the walkway over the Hudson State Historic Park. Now, for those of you who don't know, the walkway over the Hudson is an old railroad trestle that was in a advanced state of disrepair and was going to be dismantled, and a number of local people banded together and formed a grassroots organization to save it. And now it's, I think, one of the most popular attractions in upstate New York outside of Niagara Falls. So going back to the Twilight Music in the Parks, the music series will be each Tuesday and Thursday night from 6 to 7 p.m. from now through August 30th. The free concerts will be held on the Highland side of the park, which is in Ulster County at the Welcome Center. It's going to feature local musicians from the Hudson Valley, which thankfully excludes Stosh and his karaoke machine. The Twilight Music in the Park's outdoor concerts are free and open to the public, weather permitting. So in the case of inclement weather, check for updates on the Walkway Facebook page or visit parks.newyork.gov.
Nice. That's fantastic.
Yeah, maybe we should do a show right there from the venue, the Walkway. It's on a Tuesday night, starts at 7. We should get a van equipped with podcast gear and just drive around from one state park to the other and go live on location.
Yeah, we don't need a permit. Screw that.
Yeah.
Well, how about we just go right over the Walkway, the Hudson in the middle and just interview people?
Yeah, we're doing that. Get one of those boom mic apparatuses.
I could admit that I've never been on the Walkway over the Hudson.
Yeah, I think I've said it before. It's an interesting thing to do. You're well over 100 feet above the river, or at least 100 feet, I think, and it's an interesting way to do a quick out and back in the afternoon. Just bring some cash with you, because on either side you got some guys selling cold treats, either from a cart or from a stand. And when you walk across that thing on a hot summer day, even 3 liters of frozen water in your hydration bladder is not going to cool you down. You're going to want that ice cream.
How long is that going from point to point like that?
Yeah, I over the Hudson itself proper, I'm not quite sure, but I think the total elevated span is over a mile, maybe a mile and a half.
So. I was going to think so. Like going from Albany all the way down, it just gets wider and wider.
Yeah, the river, yeah. And then plus this starts at a pretty substantial elevation, which makes it further back from the river banks than where the river proper flows.
No, I will definitely tag that in the show notes, because that's pretty cool. I got to admit, thing to do, if you just have some time and you want some cool views over the Hudson Valley and just over the Hudson in general, the Walkway over the Hudson is a beautiful spot. And like you said, I didn't know that it was an old trolley. That was
actually not trolley, but freight trains and passenger trains is what it was built for. When it was built, it was quite an undertaking. I don't think it was at the time the longest trestle of its type, but it was rather significant. And at the time it was built, it was the only bridge connection over the Hudson River between Albany to New York City.
Wow.
And in fact, there was nothing in New York City at the time. The George Washington Bridge hadn't been built, and the locomotives would be offloaded or put on ferries at places like Hoboken, and then going over the surface of the water, taken to Manhattan.
Wow. Unbelievable. Crazy history once again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool stuff. So get out there and get outdoors, go to Hudson, Walkway over the Hudson. Actually, I've seen it from the base. One of my friends lives near that area and can see it going over. And it's absolutely, I gotta admit, it's majestic, but it's just too far away from me just to walk over a mile and back.
Yeah. Well, what I think is particularly cool is the government apparatus was mobilized to have this taken down, and a number of local people, mobilized. Wow. And, developed a grassroots organization that has turned this thing from something that was dangerous to now something which is a significant attraction. And here we see that the state of New York is fully behind it now.
Wow. Awesome. I never knew that. Amazing.
See the things you learn when you listen to the podcast.
Right. Nobody learns about this. I don't know about this. So, cool thing that I've come upon, cool site. It's called Overlook Outdoors. You want some Catskill merchandise? My friend Todd Bold pointed this out. It's definitely a cool place, as they have merchandise just for the Catskills, the Adirondacks, the Hudson Valley area. And I think I've ordered like at least 2 or 3 hats, or 2 hats from there, from there, and some shirts. So I need some more hats to hike with, because all mine are just that god awful sweat stains on it. And
Salt line.
right, yeah, the salt line. That's what it is.
It's from drinking all that frozen water.
Exactly. And what's the problem with that? It's good. So, but check it out. Overlook Outdoors. I will post that in the show notes. Awesome merchandise. I'm already on my way to get some stuff. So thank you guys for shooting the shit. Appreciate it. Once again, it wasn't like 2.5 hours as other times. So that's good. 29 minutes. That's not bad.
Who says I'm done shooting the shit?
Go ahead. What do you got to say, Tad?
I got a lot more. I have like diarrhea of the mouth tonight. So
bring some shit.
Yeah, Danny wants me to. No, I want to get to Danny's segment. So I'm going to shut up. But I'm looking forward to recent hikes.
No, I'm looking forward to this weekend, June 8th, Saturday. We're going to be at the Catskill Outdoor Expo at Catskill Visitor Center, right? It's going to be pretty crazy. Tad and I are going absolutely insane over this, and we try it. We're going to try to look as professional as we can.
No, we're not.
Yeah, it's not gonna. I'm seriously.
We're going to be the outlaws. It's going to be like ZZ Top comes to the Catskill Fair.
Should I wear? I got a shirt that I got at my last show that I went to, the Sum 41 show, and it says "Fuck Sum 41." Should I wear that?
Well, if you want to wear a shirt, wear a shirt. I wasn't planning on wearing a shirt.
Hey, if we're going to do karaoke, we're not going to wear shirts.
That's right.
Oh man, who's going to attend the after party? Or is it going to be at Jeff Centerman's house or DEC?
I don't know. I'm not an after party kind of guy. I party at the party. That's what I'm going to do.
There's both. There's partying at the party and then the after party.
So
always an after party.
You got to bump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers.
Yeah. So one of the reasons to come is Stosh and I are putting together a survey, and we want you to take our survey. We haven't hammered out all the details. We're still working on the questions. We'll see when we get to the Stump Stosh episode that some of the questions that Stosh cut out of the survey, I'll actually be asking him tonight. And maybe we'll find out why he cut him out. But one of the things that we're putting together is to encourage people to show up and partake in the survey. Is we're putting together a gift box. And if you take the survey and you leave your email address at the end of the survey, you'll be registered for our drawing to win the gift box. Some limitations and restrictions do apply. So I don't know, Stosh, whenever you want to, I do have some of the stuff I'm throwing in the gift box at hand. So whenever you want to look at that, we can do it.
Yeah. And unfortunately, New York State doesn't allow me to send hard ciders to everybody.
Yeah. You say that. That is true. Because again, if you were to send alcoholic beverages to somebody, it would need to be restricted delivery, proof of age, and signature required. So we couldn't get into that. But I thought when you mentioned that, my reaction is, while we cannot give away and mail to somebody a hard cider, somebody can bring to you, Stosh, on Saturday a hard cider and donate it and make it part of our reuse and repurpose hard ciders. We're going to recycle. Stosh is going to be the human hard cider recycling machine. And we'll see if he actually can make it to the after party.
Todd, my friend Todd, is going to be showing up with some hard cider. So
well,
I have some for him. He has some for me. So it's a full exchange. Awesome. So be there. Catskill Outdoor Expo at the Catskill Visitor Center in Mount Tremper.
What time?
I think it starts at 10 and ends at like 3 or something.
Yeah.
Like
we don't have a clue.
Yeah. We'll be there partying our night.
Yeah, I'm going to camp out overnight in the parking lot with my sponge pillow. I'll be the guy with like, grit on the side of my face and like the imprint of like sponge pores, That'll be
and
me.
I'll be doing karaoke from the fire tower. Yeah. So there's no limits. No limits. They're gonna hate us after this. So we're gonna I gotta stop talking about this.
We're gonna keep it clean. You can bring your children. Don't worry. You can bring your 11-year-olds It's not like you're sending up Mount Washington or Mount Whiteface by themselves. Everybody's
Right.
going to be safe and have a good time. Okay.
Right. It's going to be crazy. So be there or be square. So thank you to the monthly supporters, Darren, Vicky, John, Betsy, Denise, Vanessa, Joseph, Jim C., Michael, David, and Chris. Thank you guys very much for supporting the show. Really appreciate it. Also give a big shout out to our monthly sponsors, Outdoor Chronicles Photography. Molly from Outdoor Chronicles Photography specializes in adventure elopement and adventure couple photography in the Catskills, Adirondacks, and White Mountains. She's an officiant for getting married, a licensed guide, but most important, she is a story maker. Molly won't just give you photos, she'll give you memories that will last forever. Don't hesitate to get a hold of Molly on all platforms. Also, if you ever wanted to learn more about hiking or backpacking, or even just brush up on some of your old skills in the backcountry, check out Trailbound Project, a hiking and backpacking school. Scott and Joe from the New Jersey Search and Rescue Team have amazing backgrounds in wilderness first aid, wilderness first responder, and mountain rescue association, and they are here for you to learn old and new skills of hiking and backpacking. They teach anything from first aid, map and compass, and many other skills that could help you and others while on the trail. Check them out on their website and all social media platforms. So once again, you mentioned us in the podcast on your Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is. We'll give you a shout out on the show. So let's go on to what you're drinking tonight. Danny, what you drinking?
Jack and a little Hal's.
Oh, my hells, what's that?
Seltzer.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
I gotta go refill on mine, so I'll get that soon. So Tad, what about you? Nice, Danny.
I have a complete lack of originality or uniqueness. It's a home roasted, home brewed coffee in the Yeti cup. Again.
Listen to the sound of disappointment in his voice.
Yeah.
No. All right. I'm changing it up. I'm cracking open the Catskill water. I'm going to drink it right here in front of Stash and Danny. Right. And if I fall over, it'll be the first time Stash can't jump in to like give somebody CPR. Okay.
It won't be from the water. It wouldn't be from the water.
It's from the excitement of this episode. I'm going to go into cardiac arrest.
It's from the chemicals of that Yeti cup that you have.
Yeah. Maybe because I've had this stuff in a plastic container so long, the water is like absorbed all this stuff. Oh, well. True.
So once again, I'm having I know I sent you, Danny and Tad, a picture of the rum and Coke, but I am actually having now. So just basic rum and Coke once again, living it up after an awesome hike today. So talk about previous hikes. Who do you want to start off with? Danny, we want to start off with you. What was your previous hike? I remember we were very close to each other.
This past, I believe it was Saturday, I was at Panther.
Nice.
Maybe Sunday, Panther?
Sunday. You said Sunday.
Yeah, that was Sunday we were at Panther. That is me and my hiking buddies, it is our 34th peak for the spring season challenge.
And amazing. So elaborate. What's spring buddy? What buddies? What are you talking about?
So there's the 3,500 challenge, the 5 peaks in the winter, and the 30 or 4 peaks in the winter. I forget what it is, but
4 peaks.
4 peaks in the winter, and the rest are in the summer. There's also a season challenge where you can do all 35 winter, spring, summer, and fall through Hikers Anonymous. It's the same peaks except for 1 or 2, and you just have to keep going. They have tons of different challenges, whether it's seasonal or monthly, yearly, anything you want. They have a whole bunch of different challenges. Nice.
And you, is this your own kind of like buddies that you do, your own group, or where's this from?
So this is a good friend of mine. We just met maybe 2 or 3 years ago, Joanne. We do some volunteer stuff together in the Hudson Valley, and 2 adults with 2 cars. We have greatly helped each other doing point-to-point hikes in the Catskills, and just a great hiking friend altogether.
Nice. And you guys just do this group hikes out of nowhere?
Yeah, just each other. It's just the 2 of us. we just pick whatever peak we need and we hit it. Thinking about doing, like, it's not just Catskills too. So some Mohonk, some Scudamonk, just, whatever it is, as long as it's entertaining and we both happen to have off.
Nice. Awesome. That's fantastic. How was the hike though? Was conditions perfect?
Bugs as usual. The black flies it's almost Father's Day, so they're almost gone. But the mosquitoes are right up in there now, so the itching doesn't stop. But temperature wise, not bad. Strangely enough, for a Sunday, I think we met 4 people. Nobody was there really, honestly. The views were amazing. Could see forever. Another great day in the Catskills.
You went up the Giant Ledge area?
We did Giant Ledge.
Wow.
We went all the way through Giant Ledge. Then we hit the peak and we went all the way. I think it was about 9 miles. So nobody at the end of the hike. Everyone just does Panther and then back out from that closed parking lot.
The hairpin.
You went all the way to you went all the way to Fox Hollow?
All the way.
So is that your first time to Fox Hollow?
Wow.
No, winter season we did Fox Hollow to the hairpin.
Yeah. I gotta say
hike.
That's one of my favorite hikes on trail. Is to hike from Fox Hollow up to the hairpin or beyond. And
and it was a Sunday and not a single person.
Yeah, that whole side of a Panther coming up from Fox Hollow, I think, is fantastic. It gives you a whole new flavor for the mountain, and you see what it was like hiking it on trail, 10, 15 years ago. Because now coming up from the hairpin, it's just all beat up.
It's all beat up, and there's no more nettles on the hairpin. You go the other direction, you have about 3 inches, and you have to single file every step. Otherwise, you are leaving there stinging.
Yeah. They're ready to snap at you as you go through, right? And this is where people don't think about this, but this is where the thickness of your hiking pants comes into play. Like up until this past weekend, you could get away with hiking pants that weren't so thick, but you're now getting into the season where any contact with a thin pair of pants, that nettle juice is just going to get right through the pants, and you'll know it.
Yeah, what an awesome Fox Hollow all the way up to Panther and back.
Yeah.
It's just secluded. I'm sorry to say it like this, secluded as fuck. And that one part when you reach up around the turn and you hit the lean-to and you hit the blowdown of that one storm, just makes you think, like, what the hell happened here? Like, it's just a microburst railed at trees and the trees are down. It took them, I forgot how long it said, it took them at least 3 or 4 weeks to clear all that blowdown out of that area.
Yeah, a lot of work there.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I was wondering, I was like, just to carry your chainsaw up there, the amount of work that these men and women put in, I was amazed as I was walking through there. I just kept thinking, because I've dealt with sawyers before and we've done some long hikes, but the amount of trees that they cut, it's a long day.
Definitely. And that was the worst of it, like everything. It was absolutely insane. So good for you, Danny. That's a lot of people don't do that. They go up to the hairpin turn and then go right back. But going over all the way to Fox Hollow is an absolute and amazing hike, different experience.
Right. We're not there for the same peaks over and over again. I mean, the peak is the cherry on the cake. If you don't enjoy the walk up, if you don't stop to look at the mushrooms, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's all about the journey.
There you
go. So you said that was your 34th for the single season?
Yes.
So what's left?
The legal South double top.
Okay.
Nice.
And do you have a date planned for when you're doing that?
Soon. It's either going to be this weekend or tomorrow. I'm off of work this week, so I'm trying to push my buddy to play hooky one day. I know she has some things going on with her daughter graduating, so I'm just working around whatever I'm offered.
Excellent.
But soon.
Excellent.
So when you go, you have any planned route up to South Double Top?
So we're doing 4 seasons in a row. So we're hitting South Double Top 4 times. We're going to go a different way to every single peak every time, unless we just have completely run out of.
Yeah, I like this guy. I like him.
Yeah, that's the one nice thing about South Double Top is it's far enough out there that there's multiple ways to get there that are justified.
Yeah.
It's not like you're going to hawk it and there's some interesting ways to get to hawk it, which are long, or then there's just the up and down, right? And if you're going to double up that hike with something else that day, you're just going to do the quick up and down. But if you're going to do hawk it as your only hike of the day, there's some nice ways to come in. One of the best ways, I don't know, we're talking about hawk it, I guess, because I brought it up, but if you're just going to do hawk it as an up and down, do it from Shaft Road. It's a great hike.
Yeah, going up the waterfall.
Well, no, you right from Shaft Road.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry.
You park at the Shaft Road lot. You cross the road. There's that stream that runs along. What is it? 43 or 42 over there. 42. You cross 42, and then you just make a beeline for the ridge. Get to the ridge, hike up it. It's obviously more gradual than coming up.
Yeah, it's definitely.
But it's just a very pleasant hike. And one of the nice things about it, you're not following a herd path. And you've done this mountain how many times before going the short way. Now you're going to do it a different way and see a different side of the mountain.
Mm-hmm. All right. Back on topic.
Right. Yeah. All right. What topic? What are we talking about?
Tad, what about you, buddy?
Oh, boy. So I was planning on Saturday to do the eastern four of the Devil's Path, but one thing led to another Saturday morning, and I just decided on the fly driving up there that I was going to do West Kill from 214. Just a little bit south. I picked one of the ridges just a little bit south of Diamond Notch, and probably the steepest segment of the entire day was coming right off at 214. It was almost like a head wall. And probably the worst thing about it was not how steep it was, and it was steep climbing off at 214, but the fact that you were doing one of those hand and, knee or hand and feet, catwalks through the nettle field going up that steepness. Yeah. So, then I found some, I'm going to say relatively recent logging roads. And to me, logging recent is sometime probably in the last 75 years. And there was a couple other pretty interesting forest areas and landscape features on the way up. And then, interestingly, when I got high up on that ridge, it just was really thick and mucky. I wasn't expecting that. I had hiked through there earlier in the spring. I didn't run into any of that, but this time I was a little bit further over to the west. Then you get up to West Kill, and West Kill is West Kill. It's got a great view. The trail hike out is wonderful. And if you've never hiked the Diamond Notch Trail down to Diamond Notch Road to 214, you're missing out, because that's a great trail or road, whatever you want to call it.
Wow. So you had to go over like the arm of Southwest Hunter, right?
On my way out, I went over through Diamond Notch. I went right by Southwest Hunter.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So that's, I see. I kind of see where that's cirque of West Kill. A lot of people don't see the topography from West Kill, but that is one of the most prominent cirques of the Catskill Mountains. And a lot of people don't realize that. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah. So I actually didn't go up that. I had hiked up that ridge right along the Diamond Notch Trail years ago. And I'll have to say it was a great hemlock forest. But this time I was right down on 214 when I started out in what they call the Lanes Brook unit. There's a little road, unmaintained trail, they call it, that allegedly goes through the Lanes Brook unit. I don't know how it got on this map, because there was very little evidence of its existence for me. But as you got in deeper, I hit these logging roads, and then eventually it was a forest walk to the summit of West Kill. Yeah, I went right by that feature that you pointed out to me a few weeks ago. That's a little bit further east of there.
Nice. See, I know my shit.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Sometimes you're just like Tad second guesses me. It's just like, hey, yeah, you don't know anything.
I'm just trying to, bring you back to earth, make you a little more humble, right? That's my job. Right, Danny? Right? Doesn't somebody have to humble him?
I'm humble as fuck.
Yeah.
God damn.
Humble.
Right, so
I'm
good.
humble as fuck. Yes.
It's yeah. So good. Awesome. It's always a good time to go out and do your own thing. So, Sunday, I did my own thing somewhat. I went up Wittenberg Trail, all trail. I wanted to go up Wittenberg for the first time. I haven't been up Wittenberg in a long time. Last time I was up there was like, I couldn't remember, 2019. So it was
Wow.
5 years ago. So
5 years between the last time you were there and then this weekend. That's amazing.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough.
That's harsh.
And I got to admit, the last time I went up there, I seriously did not remember anything whatsoever of this mountain. I got to admit, it was fucking brutal. 2,500 feet of elevation gain from the bottom to the top, 3.9 miles is with the terrain sucks balls. Let's just say that.
Yeah. You say that, and going up is a strenuous hike, but really the worst part about doing Wittenberg is an up and down is going back down. Because once you get down,
exactly
right? Because once you get down, over those little rock ledges and you're back on the trail, it's just forever and
2.6 miles from the junction.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's horrible. But you know what? I was glad I did this because there was only, I met a lot of people on the way going up. There was a lot of people coming down. And there was one trail runner that I said hi to, and he basically didn't say anything to me. So
they never do.
It was basically like the whole scene, and I forgot what it was. Well, fuck me, right? And I was like, take it easy, buddy. Like, have a good day, buddy. But I greeted a lot of people. A lot of people were very nice. When I got up to the top, there was 3 couples there, and they were pretty cool. One of them was like off to the left. One of them was right in the middle of the viewpoint, which was kind of annoying. And then the other one was just off to the side, and she and the guy was, and the girl was absolutely flabbergasted by the view because it was their first time up here in Wittenberg. They were absolutely loving it. But this other couple went to the couple that was sitting right in the middle of the view, and they asked to take their picture, and the couple rejected. They said no. And I was just like, are you kidding me? So I yelled out, I'm like, I'll take your picture. I'm a nice person. And I took the person's picture. And every time I took their picture, I'm like, let's move over here so we can block that person's view so we can, get them out of the picture. I'm like, it was ridiculous. But, they were very grateful. I took awesome pictures. The other couple was like, can you take our pictures? Yes, I can. And then I gave them advice, going over to Cornell. I'm like, oh yeah, it's easy. It's not that bad. They went over there, and then I had the summit to myself. I was just blown away. 10 minutes sitting there with the summit to myself. And the views were absolutely phenomenal. Wasn't too muggy out. Wasn't too anything. I think I killed myself. I think I got up to the top. I'm trying to push myself a little bit too hard now because of I got the presidential traverse coming up in like 40 days. Well, I think I pushed myself up to the top of Wittenberg in 1 hour and 45 minutes. So it was a little rough, but on the way down, it was phenomenal. Listen to the thrushes. Thrush were every place, all over the place. It was absolutely stunning. And I couldn't ask for a better day. It was sweaty. I ran out of water right at the bridge, right going over the bridge. I ran out of water, which was like, oh, this is perfect. And I got to meet some awesome trailhead stewards down there. Natalie, I forget her son's and her husband's name, but they were really cool. They were very nice, and they were very welcoming. And they only said they only had like 15 people total for the day. Absolute stunning day.
And they were out working on a Tuesday.
Oh, this was Sunday.
Oh, you were up there on Sunday. Oh, that's
we're
right.
not even-
You're not even to today's hike yet. Okay.
Yeah,
You're
not
like
even.
a hiking monster recently.
When I get the time, I will freaking hike the crap out of it.
A month ago, I was like shaming you for not hiking, and now here you are, like doing, a hike every other day.
Exactly. And, and then we go on to today. I go up Balsam Lake Mountain. It's close to me. I could fly up it. And I was just like, you know what? What the hell? I went up it. Absolute phenomenal day. Trail conditions were perfect. Wind was at that breeze of where it kept the black flies and at bay. And Fire Tower was absolutely stunning. I got to admit, Balsam Lake offers one of the greatest views that you can get of the Catskills. You can see anything and everything. And I was very, very happy, very pleased. What else can I say? Catskills.
I'm going to ask you this question. In light of our recent conversation about Graham and Double Top, on your way up to Balsam Lake Mountain, did you trespass on the Gould property?
I wanted to so bad.
Yeah, but you didn't. You restrained yourself. See,
the herd path is, you can still see it from that spot. It's still prominent. Like it's not like it hasn't been.
Stop. It's not a herd path. It was a Jeep road or access trail to the radio tower. This was like as much of a road as you get over 3,000 feet in the Catskills. And they said people were doing environmental damage by hiking on that Jeep road.
Yeah. You can still see the herd path. I took a video from it. Check it out on the Instagram. You can easily see the herd path from people created it. It not has done anything, and not as regrowth or anything like that. It's absolute BS.
Before we move on, Danny, did you ever hike Graham?
No, I started this after.
That sucks.
So keeping it legal. Don't want to mess with the hunters. Don't want to mess with the millionaires.
There you go.
Well, maybe we'll have to ask you. Maybe we'll have to ask you to leave the show then, Danny.
We got to mess with the millionaires, man.
Yeah, you might not be our type of guest.
Yeah,
not when it's recorded.
Oh yes, nice.
Just take the fifth.
Once again, awesome previous hikes. Catskill news, volunteer definitely. We'll be talking about that tonight with Danny. 3500 Club has the trailhead stewards that slide in Wittenberg Mountain. Check them out on their website. Catskill Trail Crew has a bunch of stuff coming up. Catskill Mountain Club has definitely a bunch of stuff coming up as well. Visitors Center has a bunch of opportunities. Jolly Rovers Trail Crew, I know it's all over the place. And the Bremley Mountain Fire Tower has definitely some opportunities. And also, if you need stickers, contact me or go to Camp Catskill. Check it out. So, weather forecast. Let's check it out. I'm going to go with Balsam Lake Mountain this week because I was there. So, we'll see what's going on this weekend. Friday, looks like a little rain showers throughout the day. High of maybe around 52, low of 46. Not bad. Wind chill here and there, 10 mile per hour. Saturday, looking a little bit better, up in the mid 50s to maybe mid 40s. Rain showers here and there, but mostly cloudy skies. And Sunday, it's saying rain showers again. Basically, throughout the whole weekend, it's saying rain showers, but this is spring. We're going to have those conditions all the time. Rain showers throughout. High of maybe mid 50s, mid 40s, low. So with wind, hopefully, the wind stays up. It keeps those freaking bugs at bay because the bugs are absolutely atrocious. They weren't bad today. I had a great, phenomenal time. The wind was perfect, 5 to 10 miles per hour up on Balsam Lake today. And I didn't have any bug bites. I didn't have any problems with the bugs. But, Balsam Lake is sitting right on that edge of the Catskills where it's the highest. That'll keep the wind at the most times. There'll be wind all the time. I've never been up there without any wind. So that's just me.
Lucky you.
So yeah, get out there, freaking hike, volunteer, whatever you want. Do what Danny does, hike and volunteer.
Just get outside.
Exactly. Do what Tad doesn't do as his volunteer. He doesn't volunteer that much.
I consider
actually,
this...
I don't know. I'm very happy that Tad does the parking lot pickups that he said, at least 10 pieces.
Oh yeah.
And every little bit helps. So thanks, Tad.
Yeah. And it's amazing.
God damn. You got to defend him.
Yeah. Not only what you find. Yeah. I'm glad you're on the show tonight, Danny. You're going to be my wingman from now on you and I versus Stosh. Okay.
Wingman to the sidekick. I like it.
Yeah, that's right. So,
Zero
yeah.
responsibility.
Yeah, I mean the leave no trace doesn't start at the trail. It starts everywhere.
At home.
Yep, that's right.
Correct. All right, so we're going to go into some Catskill Mountain history. How about that real quick?
Excellent.
All right. So I pulled out a book called The Catskills from T. Morse Longstreth. Awesome book. Has a description of the Catskills all over the place. So I took this from a chapter called Big Injun, not Indian, Big Injun, Injin. So talks about Shandaken and Big Injun. So I'm going to read this from the chapter also. Shandaken is the village at the mouth of the Westcote Clove and halfway between the entrances of the Woodson Valley and Big Injun valleys, two valley ways that approach Slide Mountain. We chose Big Injun, the name for strapping redskin who got in trouble because they would murder people. The name, of course, had been vandalized into Big Indian, just as the Adirondacks, where we prefer to call good significant Tajas Mount Marcy. We shall continue to Germanize our imaginations until they starve to death, probably, or until somebody has power to show us that there is good deal in the name. Why hotel men, to mention that just in one class, should continue to propagate Hillcrest and Bellevues by the hundreds when they can make money out of names of distinction and commoditydom that does not appeal to the one proud American wits. Big Injun Valley begins with a curve that shuts it from the workaday world that road and rail. Having once wrapped itself around the satisfactory in its stir of seclusion, it starts off upon the mission of leading back into the heart of the wild country. The afternoon was as balmy and deceptive spring knows how to be. A wind as tender as the blast of a newborn lamb played down on a little side glens and whispered into the trees until it was once ready to believe the tale of summer being on the way. The stream curved to the one side and valley bottom to the other, always clear, always rushing. Big Injun is the birth date of the Esopus, and which conjures into picturesque charm to those who brought back the mention of the Rondout, the Neversink, and the Schoharie. They rounded out the curve unto the mountaineering road, always to find some charming slope ahead of our some group little hemlocks meeting together. Always there was such glimpse of the creeks hurrying down the corners. Instead, the mountains of the sky, the Indians might have called the country landscape land of the little rivers, for down each glen sprang some new brook, joined the bright Esopus. Brute and I could not help exclaiming their beauty, so intangible and so unpredictable. It is for streams of the Catskills a right to be ranked the great family of American parks. Their volume is not compared to the waters of the Adirondacks of Canada, where the scale of things is beyond imagination. Neither is their unbroken forest large enough to earn the name of the wilderness. The heart cannot leap as it does not thought of the balsam-guarded glories of the Ausable and Norquette, or the Attabati and the Rochalu. But the sunny afternoon in April, you will go with me as I go through the brute forest glen to glen, glittering the cascades that rejoice New York City, such as the wealth and beauty close at hand of the streams of the Catskills that bring up through the Esopus area. Pretty crazy. It's pretty nice that that this still pertains to this day, that you can going up the slide on, what is it, 47, right? 47 that goes up through
I think so.
Yeah, that goes up through that area. You can see all those awesome tributaries going down into the Esopus, joining in. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I've done a fair amount of off-trail hiking through there, and there's some pretty remarkable areas tucked up in there.
Oh, yeah.
The whole Esopus in and of itself is just an interesting water course. The way it goes clockwise around Panther Mountain is pretty cool.
I gotta get that guy back on here about the Panther Mountain meteorite crater. We gotta get him back on here, because now, like, it's not 13 episodes, we're 100 and something episodes in, so 127. So a little bit mature than I was back then. So, and then we got Tad here to ask him controversial questions on.
Where were you on the night of August 1st, 1822? like that type of question.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But so a little bit of Catskill Mountain history from T. Morris Longstreth. Once again, get out and get his books, The Catskills. I will tag that. Also, awesome stuff about history of Indians, just mountains, the mountain names, the Native American history of stuff in the Catskills. Check it out. So last set of sponsors, and then we'll finally get on to Danny, Mighty Mischievous, about time. So sorry, it's been 100 hour and 9 minutes. Sorry, Danny. Is that okay?
Always fun. It's always fun.
All right. Is it okay? This is a question we're going to have at the expo. Is this too long or too short? What is it? Too long?
Perfect. It's the history. Okay. It doesn't matter. It's the history that we're here for. So as long as you're interacting, we're happy.
Nice. I like this guy. So you're going to be at the Catskill Expo. All right. He's going to be our spokesperson. So is it time for some new gear hiking in the Catskills? Say no more. Camp Catskill in Tannersville has all your hiking needs. Footwear, socks, moisture wicking shirts, freeze-dried meals, Catskill merchandise, and even mountain lion traps. They have all the essential needs for you located in Tannersville and online. Check out Camp Catskill. If you want free stickers, stop here. Tad, nice. Well done, buddy.
Are those the stainless steel or the galvanized mountain lion traps? Because I know the last mountain lion that I got in my trap, I just had the galvanized one I bought at Walmart. And the mountain lion, I don't even think he was full grown, but he just ripped right through that and walked off with my trap. So if Camp Catskill is selling those stainless steel ones with the heavy duty bolts, I got to pick up a couple of those. What do you think, Danny?
Yeah, I think the upgrade is necessary. Anything cast would probably not be recommended, but if he's walking away with it, time to step up the game.
Excellent.
All right.
Next.
So also, if you're ready to hit the trails, make sure you take the scenic route. Scenic route guiding, they're here to help you whether it goes big or small. Like Marcy or Slide or low in the sewers, check out Scenic Route Guiding and Gear Rentals on Instagram and Facebook for more information. Also, if you mention the podcast, you can get 10% off. Use the code word Mountain Lion. Also, check out Another Summit. Embark on a transformative journey with Another Summit. Another Summit is dedicated to serving veterans and first responders for free outdoor activities. Activities like walks in nature, paddling, hiking, and even backpacking. Join our supportive community to rejuvenate in nature's embrace. Experience camaraderie, adventure, and healing at no cost. Take your next step with Another Adventure Summit and ascend to new heights and resilience and joy. Apply today on anothersummit.org. Finally, let's get on to the guest of the night.
Let's go.
Danny, aka Mighty Mischievous, who's been following the podcast for quite a long time. He's been in contact with me for a while. So, Danny, welcome to the show, buddy.
Nice to be here. Thank you very much.
Good. It's good to have you here. Are you wasted yet?
No, still trying to be responsible. I have an early morning.
I know. What time is your early morning?
So I live in Long Island. Any Catskill hike is a minimum 2.5 hour drive.
Yikes.
So those 8-9 o'clock a.m. starts usually start about 4 or 5 for me. So
same.
It's like a regular work day. Up at 4.
Wow. All right. Well, let's get this going. I understand. I definitely understand because I got to wake up at 4 o'clock again. So good to have you on here, Danny. Listener Spotlight tonight. This is our first time with Listener Spotlight. So Danny has been following the podcast for quite a long time, has been tagging us, has been sending me messages in wild. And I always am grateful to hear his stuff and to hear his daily lifetime with the Catskills and, of course, of volunteering. So he'll be on tonight to talk about that. So why don't you give a little background about yourself, Danny?
So my dad's a pastor. I'm a PK. So mom used to take us camping a lot. Dad wasn't always with us, but dad came. Dad was involved with the church, but mom and my aunt would take us Catskills and Wildwood, and this was all under 10. So just always outdoors as a kid. Because dad is a pastor, I wasn't in Boy Scouts. We did something a little different called Royal Rangers. So it's the same concept as Boy Scouts, but there is just a little bit more touching on Native American things, food and culture, leatherworks, even Revolutionary War, the muskets, tomahawks, different cool things that Boy Scouts wouldn't really get into. We camped out on Iona Island a lot. We did a lot of Hudson Valley hikes. And then I hit high school and all of that disappeared, got involved with skateboarding and girls and was living my dream. And then Corona happened. And I asked a good buddy of mine, Greg, can you recommend a hike? He recommended Hopalope and Torn. I'm not sure if you've heard of that. It's a memorial hike for the West Point cadets, open to the public. Short hike, 45 minutes. I was done with it. And I called my friend Greg back. I said, I need a little bit more. What do you have for me? So he told me to take Breakneck to the Beacon Fire Tower and back. So that was about 16 or 18 miles. And that started the hike. That's when I knew that's what I needed. I needed to be outside. So thankfully for Corona, it was a very traumatic time in a lot of people's lives. But I used it for what I could get out of it at that time. I increased my circle of friends phenomenally, and I was introduced back into the world of outdoors and volunteering and helping and just getting out of your house.
That's that smile on the face. I wish people could see that smile on your face. That's the one thing that I wish people could see. So the hiking kind of rejuvenates you, makes you like, well, who is this great guy character?
He lives in, I believe, Peekskill. He is a super of mine at work.
Okay.
I believe he is the real Greg Outdoors on Instagram. Great friend, great hiker. He's actually doing the presidential hike sometime in the near future.
July? If it's July, I'll be with him.
It's probably not July. I haven't spoken to him about that recently. But my knees cannot do more than, let's say, 18 miles a day. So I regrettably can't join him on that hike. But great guy, great outdoorsman.
Danny, you can do it. Trust me.
I can do it. My knees can't.
Yeah, my knee. I say the same thing, but I did the presidential first 34 miles. It was tough, but I did it. So
I don't know if I could do that. Maybe in 2 days, 16.
We'll see. Danny, I will hook up with you and we'll do something together, buddy. So
I'm down.
So what initially drew you to hiking? Like, was it the Rangers program, or was it, of course, the horrible instance of Corona?
Yeah, so it had to be the Royal Rangers. So Iona Island is recently closed to the public. I believe it's a bird sanctuary. Used to be a military base, used to be a bunch of different things owned by the state. And we would camp there, preteen, teen, I'm not exactly sure when it was, but when you're very influential or easy to be influenced, did a lot of cool outdoor activities, hiking. So it's an island. We were allowed to play like hide and go seek on our own on the whole island. Just, don't go in the water. Don't touch anything you're not allowed to touch. But the freedom of being outside and finding things. So there's just ruins and springs and things that even now you find as an adult, shiny rocks. There's things that interest you. And you're like, you know what? This is what life is about.
Yeah, Danny, I ask everybody this because, I gotta admit, it's a generation kind of thing. How old are you?
I am 43.
See, you're our age. Tad, me, yeah. We're at the age of, just going and exploring. It's just.
Speak for yourself. I'm like decades past 43.
Well, we had to follow somebody on these explorations.
Yeah.
Right? But we're all about exploring. We're all about like, what is this? Why is this down here? Why is this crayfish like going this way? Like, what leads to this? Where does this creek lead to? And then all of a sudden you're lost.
Yes. And that's the best part, getting lost and figuring out, get 2 more hours of sunlight. I guess I could wait 2 more hours and then start heading back.
Right? God, those times of where people weren't worried of us, where there was no like we could do our own shit and come back, was just those days. Tad, do you feel that same way with your little girl, with your girls?
Yeah, so I have two daughters, and as many parents would appreciate, my two daughters are from opposite hemispheres, and they're both great and wonderful people. But I notice that the one who's older, who lives that outdoor active lifestyle, it's kind of you go out on these long hikes, these long outings, and it's kind of, the tranquility of it is like a tranquilizer, and it just mellows you out, gets you to slow down and focus on some pretty simple things. And I think to go through life today with these nonstop distractions and interruptions and sensory overload of the social world, if you can go out in the woods for 16 miles and not be interrupted by anything other than some mosquitoes, some nettles grabbing at your legs, stepping over some rocks, some roots. It's not the view at the top, it's the journey up and down. And it's a cool experience, and it's a whole mindset of getting into that flow that makes it extra worthwhile.
Right. Absolutely on point. And, Danny experiences this and, what drew you to the Catskills though?
Okay, so again, my circle of friends grew phenomenally through Instagram. A lot of my friends have issues with social media, understandably, and not even to the point where you can't put your phone down, but just meeting the wrong people and opening yourself up to different situations, I guess. I used it for what I wanted from, and I got a crap ton of awesome friends, including the podcast. So another friend from Instagram, and a lot of these people I haven't met yet, but I don't remember this guy's name. HB Trails on Instagram. He repeatedly has done the Fire Tower Challenge, not the fastest, but the first of the year. So he sends in his application usually July 1st. And I was asking him, what is this Fire Tower thing? I didn't even know what a fire tower was. And I have to admit that it took me probably 3 or 4 or 12 times of going to a fire tower before I got enough courage to get to the top. Just scary. But yeah, my friend HB Trails showed the Fire Tower Challenge, DEC, and that was Hunter was my first Catskills hike. I went up the really short way. I'm not sure which parking lot it was. Went up the shortest way to Hunter.
Hello, baby.
Yeah, I didn't know about Southwest Hunter. I missed that. I didn't know about Rusk and East Rusk. I missed all of that. But again, I was just there for the Fire Tower. And that was a rough way up. As a Hudson Valley hiker, I said, Hunter, one and done. I'll never do it again. And we're probably up to about 12 times now since I've been to Hunter. So it never ends. It started with the fire towers, and it's probably never going to end.
Good. Once again, that break into somebody, that little introduction, the fire towers, introduces you into a whole different world, and it gets you went up Becker Hollow. I gotta admit, that's insane, because that is 2.2 miles with around 2,200 gains. So you're having the one of the most difficult hikes in the Catskills, I gotta admit. If you don't go up Lost Clove, or you don't go up Catterskull High Peak from the south, you have one of the most difficult hikes. And if you can withstand that, I gotta admit, you're in golden for the rest of the time.
Definitely did not withstand that. I barely made it up, and I'm thinking to myself, like, what kind of people do this to on a daily basis? And that was early too. So you were a khaki hiker. I was a denim hiker.
God, I love this guy.
Definitely had the cotton shirt, and okay, so I had fancy boots. I had Zamberlin hiking boots, but the denim was with me on every hike, sweating my brains off. So, living and learning. And that is one excessively aggressive hike for your first hike.
Yeah. And like you said, living and learning. That's what it's all about. I started off once again wearing khakis, like you said, and a band t-shirt, Exodus. And beyond that, I was just like, oh, crap. Going out in the winter, my khakis are freezing.
Yeah.
And they're freezing over, and now they've become Jinko jeans. And it's just, I'm wearing too much. I have too much on me. Why don't I change to, some stuff that's lighter, that moisture wicking and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, my pant game, I used to do denim jeans, and I would have like a fleece, like a pajama pant liner that I would wear, and be cold. And once you step up to rayons and the correct gear, you're in a single pair of pants. So your weight is reduced and your comfort is increased. Just education. You need to know.
And people often people who don't hike, or they don't hike in the winter, and you tell them that you were out the past weekend hiking, and the temperatures were like 8 degrees, 12 degrees. They're like, wow, weren't you cold? And no, I wasn't cold in the least, man. I was, going up. I, didn't have a lot of layers on, and I was venting, and I was fine. And as I'm getting to the summit, I start pulling on a couple layers. I didn't get cold once, and I was out, in single digits or low double digits. So yeah, having the right gear surely makes it a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah, this was a warm winter, but I don't think I used my winter jacket, other than we didn't even use it when we sat for lunch, because we barely sat for lunch. But I didn't use my winter jacket until springtime. But yeah, you just got to keep moving. If you stop, you die. So don't stop.
Yeah, truth.
So do you hike? Of course, being from Long Island, you got to hike anywhere other than the Catskills, buddy.
Yeah, so I am. My first couple of years were Hudson Valley only. When I'm bored and don't want to drive, I'll do Long Island. There's a couple of extremely populated hikes out here. But Hudson Valley is my home, hiking wise. And the Catskills is my dessert that I get whenever I can.
So you get around in the Hudson Valley, you hike Harriman State Park and the surrounding areas?
Yes. So there's Storm King, Scunnamunk, Fondstock across the Hudson, any one of those little parks.
Yeah, the Hudson Highlands.
Hudson Highlands, amazing spots. Sterling has a fire tower. Harriman has a fire tower. Anywhere, just go and explore. Do what you like. Walk at your speed.
So for somebody who's had more of a fair balance of Catskill hiking versus Hudson Valley hiking than I have, how would you compare and contrast the hiking in the Catskills versus the hiking in the Hudson Valley at these places, Harriman, Hudson Highlands, Sterling State Forest, etc.?
The only similarity I'm going to say is the bugs. There's more people, there's more trash, there's less parking in the Hudson Valley. And I very often do a Catskill Peak on a Saturday, and then I'll go on a Sunday and explore in the Hudson Valley. And the elevation just isn't there. You're not going up 2,000 feet of elevation. It's just not there. So you can have a nice, relaxing hike in the Hudson Valley. Don't get me wrong. There's still aggressive hikes. There's Breakneck, which we all know is just up vertical rock climbs. So it depends on where you go, but you can find a nice rolling woods road in the Hudson Valley that'll get you to a peak. So the Catskills is more aggressive. And again, everybody does it. People bring their children on it. So don't be afraid of it. Just be prepared.
Correct. And both areas, Catskills and, down in the Hudson Valley area still has its technical difficulties.
Yeah.
People underestimate that 1,000 feet is 1,000 feet. Doesn't matter what level you're talking about, that it can still be dangerous.
Yeah, very much so. I did a group hike on Breakneck about 2 years ago, and someone was having heat issues. So regardless of where it was, thankfully I carried the ice and I was able to help this person with the ice, but they were close to fainting and on a rock ledge. So that could have ended completely different than the way it did. The risk is always there. The risk is always there. It's just your level of accepting it. You want to stand on the edge. That's quite all right if you stand on the edge, but you have to be willing to stand on the edge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you mentioned that there's more people, more trash in the hiking areas in the Hudson Valley. One of the things I also found in the several times I've hiked in the Hudson Valley is there's a lot more trails, it seems.
Yeah.
Right. There's this amazing web or network of trails in Harriman State Park and in the surrounding areas. And my first recent experience hiking in Harriman State Park a couple of years ago, I just felt a different vibe hiking in the Hudson Valley than I do in the Catskills. Do you find that as well?
I do 100%. And again, it's where I started. So anytime I park the car, I instantly at ease. I'm an inner city kid, so road noise is always involved in my life, and hearing people screaming radio, it is extremely annoying, but it's a part of hiking in the Hudson Valley. You have to put in a good 2 miles to get away from all of that to avoid people. But
So being a person that is Catskill, all Catskill and not Hudson, what's the different vibe? I got to know that vibe. I know it's I haven't hiked anywhere down there, I can say, but I know like when you go kind of like off the beaten path, you get kind of like a better vibe somewhat, but the Catskills offer so much.
it's hard to explain vibe wise.
Well, explain it in terms that you associate with or you identify with it, in terms of how the Hudson Valley hiking experience, not just in terms of the terrain and the vertical differences, but in terms of the overall experience is different than hiking in the Catskills.
People are nice and people are mean everywhere you go.
Yep.
I've had some mean people in the Hudson Valley. I haven't had any mean people in the Catskills yet.
Thank you.
Everywhere you go, you get the people who, earbud in or they don't even say hi. That is what it is. But in the Hudson Valley, there is some questionable characters. Not dangerous in any way, but just, there's a lot more people. You're closer to Manhattan.
Yeah.
Inexperienced hiker will cut their teeth down there before doing anything. And sneakers and cotton is big there. So that just lets you know the type of person that you're going to run into. And it doesn't say anything for them socially. They could be a nice person in sneakers and cotton, but they're just not knowing what to do. Radios will be playing more.
Nice.
When you tear open your cookie wrapper, that small piece you tear off, just they let it go. And no need for that. No need for that. And the biggest thing, like the poopy paper, I don't understand why
Poopy
so
paper.
many people
What's
use
poopy
the forest.
paper? What are you talking about? Poopy paper. What is with that?
Devastating.
Is that a flavor? Is that a flavor? Poopy paper?
It is the one thing I will never pick up off the trail.
Poopy paper. So when I did my first venture into Harriman State Park a couple of years ago, I had a lot of different sensory experiences that day. One of them was that my natural tendency to pick up everything on the trail that shouldn't be on the trail as I'm going down the trail, I couldn't do. Because literally within the first 15 or 20 minutes, I had to turn around and go back to my Jeep and offload leaders of accumulated trash. It was overwhelming. And I'll also say, though, in the same vein, I've also had experiences down there where you don't find anything on the trails. And a lot of that is the trail maintainer. A lot of that is the area of the park and how remote it is, or how less of a magnet it is for people to come by and see certain features. But one of the bigger experiences I had that first day I drove into Harriman, and let's see if you identify with this. Driving over, I never had the sense that I was going into the woods, going into the wilderness. It was, 4-lane roads, fast drivers, motorcycles whizzing by. You get to the parking lot, there's picnickers, there's barbecue grills, there's the smell of the charcoal, the sizzling. You hear kids running around, families, cyclists, getting together in their groups to go cycling. And when you go into the Catskills, I really feel, and how I drive into the Catskills, that you're really driving away from all that urbanization, and you are going into the wilderness, into the woods, and you're unplugging from that social urban experience. Do you sense the same?
Yeah, I 100% agree. The Hudson Valley was more set up for the family hiker. They have phenomenally large picnic areas. Throughout the parks, they even have these little Fs. I don't know if you've ever seen on the maps, the trail conference maps, there's a little F circle, just like the parking lots and the shelters. And those are fireplaces throughout parks. Sometimes they're double-sided for 2 families. They would expect families to go hiking through the park and stop and experience a barbecue at lunch. The place, it is extremely over-condensed, but thankfully, once you graduate from the denims to the correct pair of pants, you know where to go to get away from those people, and they won't follow you more than a mile out on trail. You'll occasionally get your drunk man, wandering the woods, just trying to get away from his family.
So you've seen me out there.
Right, me too.
The shirtless drunk man.
Yeah, that's me. Shirtless Tad.
Yeah, hey, to each their own. No worries.
On weekends, I don't pour coffee in the Yeti cup. Okay.
Right. So Danny, I can't blame people for, exploring a little bit beyond, their reach of Long Island and going beyond Suffolk County and Poughkeepsie and stuff like that. And, I'm glad that New York State is doing this to get people beyond this area. And hopefully people like you, people like our stewards and stuff like that, influence them to do the right thing. So like we have, once again, amazing people like you on Instagram, and hopefully just about influencing them to do the right thing with these things of, like, hey, you might not just be dressed for this occasion. Maybe you should do this. And do you see that most of the time when you suggest this? Do you see them taking the right way?
You have to bring it. You can't. No one wants to be corrected, even if they accept it. No one wants to be corrected. So you have to come in a way to that person that might work. There was an incident in Harriman with a New Jersey hiking group where they were 30 or 40 people deep. They were standing on the roofs of the shelters. They were climbing into mines, disturbing bats, major issues. And the DEC got involved, and no one got in trouble. It became all re-education. And that's when I realized education is the only way out of. I'll give you $1,000 fine. Okay, now you're mad, and we have $1,000. Nothing's changed. So re-education seems to be the biggest thing possible. Just this past Saturday, I was working in Minnewaska, and at the end of the day, I went to a well-known, very popular swimming area in Minnewaska, and 10 to 20 high school kids there, and beer cans, 2 boxes full of beer cans, so 60 cans of beer, all on the floor, all cracked open from the whatever the chug thing that they do. Just kids having fun. Kids having fun. So as a human being, I'm completely disgusted by the amount of cans thrown on the floor. Like, when you drink, throw it in the box. Anyway, whatever. So how do I get these kids to not be upset with me, not push me into the waterfall, but to also somewhat educate them? So right before I left them, I just asked them, anyone jump in? You guys swim? Interacting with them. And again, I'm just a hiker. I'm nobody. But as a human being, I realize that there's 20 high school kids here. There might be 1 or 2 responsible ones in the group. So I always have, again, with TADS, going back to the Hudson Valley, I always have a regular big kitchen garbage bag in my bag, and then I have 2 or 3 small bags for like stuff that I pick up on the way. So right as I left the kids, I said, I have a huge shopping garbage bag. If you guys want it, it'll possibly make it easier for you to pick all this stuff up. And they were like, yeah, dude, that would be great. We would appreciate that. So now I let them know that someone on the outside knows that their trash is here, and still just trying to be friendly and offer them here's a garbage bag. Can you just please make sure you pick up your trash? And they were very friendly and accepting to. So again, they were there. They were not going to leave the garbage anyway. But I feel that by offering the garbage bag in the slightest bit of way, they were like, you know what? We really need to make sure that this is cleaned up correctly, because there are people watching, and maybe next time they won't litter as much. And again, when I got back there, the spot was completely cleaned. But that was my first time interacting with high school kids, and they didn't beat me up and push me in the waterfall. So I'm very happy.
So now you were talking about your the ruins and mines stuff, like going around Harriman State Park and stuff like that. Now, do you know about these areas?
So if it's on the map,
I'm not familiar with that area. So it's on the map. They have that marked.
Harriman has quite a few mines. Sterling has mines. Fonstock has mines, and these are all off-trail mines.
Okay.
Legally in the Hudson Valley, I believe you're allowed 5 feet of egress off-trail. So I am not an advocate for this, but if you want to adventure off-trail, just be prepared for any consequences that might come along with it. But the Hudson Valley is completely inundated with mines. Most of them are closed, fenced off, refilled for public safety. But there's always an adventure out there if you just look for it.
I'm trying to think of the so I had a wilderness first responder time that I had to go to, and I'm trying to think of the state forest. Give me 1 second to look up where this was. Was it Stan? Oh my God. But it was right on the edge of New Jersey and New York.
That could have been Harriman or Sterling.
It might have been Sterling. It had a pond where IBM was located at. Where was IBM?
That sounds like Sterling.
Sterling.
Yeah.
So, and there was like a Mormon headquarters, right?
Yeah. There's the Jehovah Witness World Headquarters.
Yes,
is there.
That's what it was. So we had a like test there, and I was blown away by the topography of that area. It looked like it was flat, but we ventured over some little mounds that overlooked New York City. We saw the most beautiful skyline of New York City at night. And then we went down and I saw these amazing rock, like 200-foot rock sculptures of, where people do bouldering and stuff like that. And I was totally flabbergasted by what New York and New Jersey had to offer down at the lower spots and off trail.
I'll agree that there's a different hiking culture, or at least different portions of subcultures within the hiking culture in the Hudson Valley, but the terrain is extremely interesting. The forestry, the undergrowth, it's just a world different than what we run into in the Catskills or further north. And it's in my opinion, it's well worth the drive over to that area. And I guess this is where I asked Danny, if you could, what would be the top 3 best hikes or trails or areas to visit in that lower part of the Hudson Valley for somebody who wasn't able to spend a lot of time there, but was going to go hike there a couple times?
Okay, well, everyone knows Storm King. Storm King's a great park, great hike, very popular. So we won't talk about Storm King. Schunemunk. So now these hikes are, it's probably a little less than 10-mile hike, but there's an area in Schunemunk called the Megaliths. It's on the Jessup Trail, also the Hudson Highland Trail. It's a huge rock feature, little cavey area. It's nothing phenomenal, nothing like Breakneck. You're not climbing any rocks, but it's an awesome, huge bouldering area. And if you do that hike in a loop, that's going to be the South Ridge. But when you're on the North Ridge, you're looking at the Catskills the whole time. Great view in Schunemunk there. There is Moriarty Outpost in Black Rock Forest. So that is a picnicking area, beautiful pines, right by a lake, quiet, 3 miles from the nearest parking lot. Black Rock is a consortium, so occasionally there will be school buses with normal acting school children, no maniacs, no kids running and screaming and throwing stuff at you, but occasionally there will be a school involved in Black Rock. But the Moriarty Outpost is a relaxing place in Black Rock to enjoy lunch. And again, far away from the majority of people. You have to be willing to put in a mile or two to get to these places. And then my third one, it's going to be in Minnewaska. So I just found this spot. There's a vacancy on a trail maintainer, so they needed some help maintaining this section of trail. And I walked past this rock overhang called the Wolf's Jaw. It's just south of Ousting Lake Ousting. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly.
We'll call it Lake Owasing.
Owasting? Okay,
yeah.
Right. So just south of that, there is the Wolf's Jaw Connector Trail, and on the Wolf's Jaw Connector Trail has this amazingly huge rock overhang. Not recommended during bug season, but you can have lunch under this huge rock overhang, and it's a connector trail. So it connects the where are we? So it connects the Shawgunks Ridge Trail to the bike path around a Lake Ousting. And great spot. Nobody was there. I was in that Wolf's Jaw rock overhang for a good hour and a half, 2 hours, and not a single person walked by. So amazing rock feature. Again, if you're looking for an adrenaline rush, you're probably not going to find it on a hike unless you do Breakneck. These are peaceful places where you can enjoy life and be happy that you're outside.
So yeah, amazing. So with you talking about that, it sounds like you volunteer a lot. What does your volunteering life consist of?
So I volunteer with PIPSI, Palisades Interstate Park Commission. One thing.
Say that again.
PIPSI, Palisades Interstate Park Commission. We so tons of different organizations in there. The one group that I volunteer for, we are Native American site stewards. So we go around the Hudson Valley and we monitor Native American sites. We explore and find new Native American sites. This is all in prevention of vandalism. So we would clear fire rings. We would educate anyone camping in there, remove graffiti, remove trash, things of that nature. Just making sure that the Native American history isn't erased by the drunken fool.
Yeah.
A recent place that we just found, so maybe found about 2 weeks ago. There's a brand new site, was actively being raided. There is 2-foot trenches all throughout the front of this shelter. And whoever was this person, they had camping gear, hunting gear, and they made screens to sift through the dirt to find pottery and different arrowheads and different artifacts. So as a generation of Amazon and eBay, you can get a couple of bucks for an arrowhead. I don't really see the profit of doing this, but this is a big concern, is illegal raiding of these places. A lot of this is need to know basis, locations, the parks themselves, people you can bring there. It's not necessarily open to the public, simply due to illegal activity and also criminal activity. Like Novell just had that fire last month.
Yeah.
Only due to social media. I mean, I guarantee you the electricity wasn't on, so that was some kid flicked a cigarette or something. Could have been a sick accident, but it's all due to social media. I am very big on the leave no trace, physically and digitally. I am, what's that term you guys use? I don't give up my spots easily. Gatekeeper. I'm a big gatekeeper, but I'm a human being. So I have friends and I trade places with my friends and I trust my friends. So, not everything is a secret. You just have to know who you're dealing with, and social media, you don't know who you're dealing with. So again, I don't leave any trace digitally. Try not to. I'll tag New York, I'll tag Catskills, but I'll never tag anywhere in particular. So that's Pipsy. That's my first volunteer job. I volunteer also with the New York, New Jersey Trail Conference. I am a maintainer in Black Rock Forest. Black Rock is just north of West Point Military Academy. And as a red-blooded American, I got to say, every now and then you hear the explosions go off, or you hear a machine gun go off, and the helicopters are swooping low. They're doing whatever nonsense training they're doing. But I'm a big fan of Black Rock Forest and the West Point Military Academy just below it. So I have 2 miles in Black Rock. It is the Tower View Trail and the White Oak Trail. They are 2.5 miles into the park, so it's a nice hike in order to deal with maintaining those trails. And then also, last but not least, I just took a new position with the Trail Conference. I am the trail chair for West Hudson Valley North. This is Black Rock Forest, Schunemunk State Park, Storm King, and Minnewaska Park. I am the Trail Conference trail chair for these parks. I get whatever the supervisors need, I try to provide. And whatever they are lacking, I would physically substitute. That's why I was in the park last week maintaining a trail, just so that it's passable while its maintainer is vacant. And then also, we're not trying to stress out any new volunteer people, so we're not going to leave you a trail that's impassable. We'll go there with you or before you, and make sure that it's not the worst thing in the world to offer to a new volunteer. But those are my 3 main volunteer positions at this point. I am single. I have no kids, so my weekends are completely free. And after hiking for so long, it took me a while to hear about the Trail Conference, even after using their maps. But once you realize that you can give back, why not? Why not?
Yeah, right.
I called them and I said, "What do you guys offer?" So they, the Trail Conference offers volunteer hours for, obviously for the average man, but as a Boy Scout or a college applicant, you can also get your volunteer hours needed for those situations in your life by volunteering with the Trail Conference. You don't necessarily have to go to an old folks home and play music to get volunteer hours. You can go stand in a park and either maintain with a group or at the trailheads in the Catskills. There's many different options to get volunteer hours. And all you have to do is send an email to the volunteer org and ask. Just ask. Step one, ask.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. It's just, ask and then do it. What's the problem of volunteering 2-3 hours of your life per year?
Yeah. I mean,
and then you say, you say, Danny, that a bunch of people with the Boy Scout and stuff, that's like 6, 7, 8 like kids to do volunteering. Like that's a huge, significant impact on the trails.
yes, in Black Rock, they have done a lot of the, I'm not sure of their terminology, but let's just say a merit badge requirements. And you go there on a Saturday and there's, in regular clothes, they're not in uniform, but there's, 10 little teenagers running around digging trees and raking leaves and, having fun, experiencing life.
Right. And it changed their attitude, it might change what they're thinking about, and it might inspire them to be a forest ranger or, like a geologist or something like that. It's just, oh man, I kind of wish I was exposed to this type of stuff when I was a kid and what I've been right now, but who knows?
Yeah. And the history of it too. So the woods roads we always talk about, and Tad talked about the logging, the recent logging 70 years ago. Archaeologists are needed to find the history of these places. So you have all those stone Native American, I don't even know what they're called. One of your previous guests. Yeah, the weird structures. So us as normal human beings have no idea what this is other than it's a rock pile. Archaeologists would be able to, through their schooling, be able to know how to dig that up correctly, how to preserve it, and to get to the history and to tell you when these things were done and who did them and why they did them sometimes. So I am a big advocate for getting kids outdoors and towards archaeology. It's not your tie and glasses position anymore. It is exactly like Indiana Jones. You're out there digging around and dealing with people.
Right. Yeah.
Thinking about how cool it is. One of the books I read recently, or took a while to read through it, and that's why I was reading it recently, was the story of a fellow who traveled across Death Valley in 1849 to get out to California for the gold rush. And that obviously is years removed, but not that many years removed from, the Indians in the country, the Native Americans, and their lifestyle here. But you read that book and you get a sense of just what people went through every day back then just to survive. And it's a real eye-opener to read something like that, where, how many days in a row they would go without food. So yeah, that it's a very good lesson for young people to become acquainted with, is how over time we've transitioned and what is important to us day in and day out. I mean, now what's important to us is how long we wait in line at Starbucks to get our maki latte, skim milk, avocado, breakfast, whatever drink.
Jesus.
I have no idea.
How do you even know this?
But yeah, well, it's my one daughter buys things like that, and I just like, wow, you remember what this order is, where I'm just a black coffee guy. But then you go back a couple hundred years and, people would go days without food, without really
food.
Yeah, without water. I mean, you read this book and they set out with like a full provisioned, stocked caravan with ox and horses and cattle. And then they hit Death Valley. And slowly, one by one, they're killing off the animals and eating them. That's how they got across the valley. And then he talks about, when they get to the other side, they're going to scale the range, the mountain range, because to them, that's the way out. They had no map. It's all word of mouth, the roads and the trails they're taking. So when you talk about the Native Americans and that heritage, we really don't have a good written history of that and how they did things. And they were probably more prepared or better prepared than this fellow was in 1849. But wow, living back then. Now what we do for recreation is what they just did for daily survival.
Right. Yeah.
And they didn't have sponge pillows. So
exactly. Right.
Totally hardcore.
Hardcore MFers. Let's just say that. So Danny, do you actually are you a volunteering for an actual organization, or are you just doing this all because of you?
No, I've Trail Conference and Pipsy. Definitely.
Okay.
Both of those
nice. I will
are
tag
my
them
volunteer. Both. Yeah. The Trail Conference, number one way to give back, and it's so easy. I watched a YouTube video. I read a few contracts and agreements, and I was ready to go. I had a hands-on with the supervisor who showed me what to prune, what not to prune. I got my first, I think it was 3/4 of a mile trail, and I was snipping away.
It's that freaking easy.
Yeah, that's it. Trail Conference is the way to go.
Exactly. So amazing. Once again, thank you, Danny, for volunteering. It's simple. It's 8 hours of the whole freaking year that you got to put your life into, and it makes a huge difference. Doesn't matter where, when, whatever. It makes a massive difference.
Yeah, I had a friend, just real quick, and I asked him, this is when I was newer and fresh. So I said, would you like to volunteer with me? He said, no big deal. He said he can't put in that time. I said, no big deal. It just requires hiking for this one thing. We're just doing an invasive species checkout with Prism. So Prism is another thing I volunteer for. It's a part of the New York, New Jersey Trail Conference. Prism is the Hudson Valley. They also have CRISP. CRISP is the Catskills. Catskills, yep. I forget the actual acronym meaning, but CRISP and Prism does invasive species monitoring. iNaturalist, they'll have you use your phone to locate tree of heaven, numerous amounts of invasives. I asked a buddy if he would join me on that hike, and he said he couldn't. He wasn't down with hiking and getting involved. And then the next day he was outside hiking. And I was like, I wasn't asking for you to do anything physical. You just had to hike and view and send an email. So everyone has their priorities, but it's as simple as hiking and looking and sending an email. You do what you want. You don't have to do a lot. You don't have to be out there in the sun. You don't have to be out there bent over. You do what you can. You do what you want.
Unbelievable. The impact that one little influence has that you can do on somebody else, and then it can branch off. It's just, it's incredible. And, I don't know what to say.
I should go back to my, my original friend, Greg, from, I remember it was March 13th, Friday the 13th was when Corona happened. And, I asked my buddy Greg, I said, we're going out of work for a little bit. Where do I go? And I told you he sent me to Popalopen. But that guy, Greg, started all of this. So it just takes, the right touch from the right person.
Correct. And I'm glad, you have done this. You have evolved so much, and you've listened to the podcast. I followed you ever since the beginning, basically. I know I've been following you ever since the beginning, and you're a very big influence on me and hopefully on everybody else. Let's hope. So
thank you. It goes both ways. The amount of, I got to say, the amount of history, education, and besides the books that I bought that you recommended, but the hours of lost sleep that I've had because of you is phenomenal.
It's horrible.
Just you get stuck in a chapter and you got to go to the next chapter. It's amazing. It's what we're here for. You're not here to hike to a peak. That's not the point.
No, that's good. I'm glad I've done that. So, Ted, you sounded like you were disappointed with that.
No. I mean, no. I've been down those late night rabbit holes where Not necessarily with the book, but sometimes with the book. But I think it's worse when you're web surfing and you get onto a topic, and then you can just link from one page to another page, and then you search this and you search that, and you're just doing this deep dive on what started off as just a little question you had about something. And I'll say,
next thing you know, you're going on private property trying to get some to the.
I'm not admitting to anything. Okay, I have the Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination, and on the advice of counsel, I'm not answering any further questions. But I will admit to reading unit management plans. Do you know what those are, Danny?
I do not.
So the DEC, part of its implementation of programs in New York State, and in particular in the Catskill Park, other parks, forest areas, et cetera, they prepare these unit management plans that cover the history of the area, the geology of the area, the forestry of the area, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. How it's used, how it's overused, and their projects. They even have you look at some of them, and they have like the projected cost of doing this improvement, that improvement, the other thing. One of the, I do find when you look at these old ones, like what they projected the cost of building a certain bridge would be, and you kind of wonder if the state of New York could do anything that cheap, but they have those prices in there. But what I find really interesting when you read these is they're very good sources of the history of that particular area, what the resources are and how it was used 100, 150 years ago. And so I often find myself scrolling through these unit management areas, and one of the things that I doubt either of you are aware of, but there are two places in the Catskills where it's legal and actually occurs that there's easements to draw water from mountain streams and haul it out of the park. Were you aware of that, Stosh? You sound skeptical. I read it in an official DEC document for whatever that's worth, but there's two areas. One is in the I'm going to say it's on the eastern slope of the fir balsam area. I haven't pinpointed exactly where it is, but the other I actually found. I can shoot you a picture. It's this whole waterworks area where you were today, Balsam Lake.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Off the main road or main trail. When I was bushwhacking through there to hike one of those lower elevation mountains, and you hear this sound of water, just like you expect to come around the corner and find this huge water there. Yeah. Well, it's this comes right out of the side of the mountain, and there's well houses and PVC piping and other piping, and you come around the corner, it's like nothing you've seen. And so then you want to figure out what it is. And so you start reading up on it, and you see, sure enough, somebody has an easement that predates the time when the state acquired this land to draw water out of the mountain.
Nice. God, I love those times.
This is a single person, or is this public?
I don't know who owns it now. I didn't do any of the deed research to date, and I'm not going to say the area was all that well maintained, but I was coming through in the late spring, so the damage I saw might have been just from that winter. But yeah, this, according to the unit management plan that I then researched to find out what was going on there, it talked about there's this easement for whoever holds the easement now by assignment to draw this water from that area of Balsam Lake Mountain and use it for whatever purpose they want to.
Amazing.
Wow. Yeah. Awesome. I love that. I love that shit. That's just phenomenal stuff to hear. So, all right. So let's wrap this thing up. What about post Hike Brews and Bites, Danny? What would you give a local shout out to, restaurant, pub, or business after a hike, buddy?
As a fat man in a skinny man's body, I always, not recently with my new hiking buddy, Joanne, but when I was solo hiking, I would stop at the any one of the roadside farms, any one of the signs that say farm fresh egg, stop, pull in there. Not only do you get an amazingly cheap $4 dozen eggs or $3 or $2 dozen eggs, but honey, homemade pies. They sell the most amazing things at all of these roadside farm stands. So that's my recommendation is you see farm, pull over.
Farm to mouth. That's what I'm hearing.
Amazing.
Skip
amazing.
the table.
I love it. I agree 100%. I have like 200 being in Oneonta. We have like farms all over the place. So it's just all over the place. So I love going to those places and getting some awesome chocolate chip cookies and honey and maple syrup. Maple syrup is because all that
You're
stuff
talking
down.
my language. You're talking my language.
Exactly. So once again, Danny, thank you for joining us tonight on the show. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate you helping out, and supporting the show. Once again, I really grateful to have you here. Number one, just listening to the show. Number two, volunteering for the Catskills, the Hudson Valley, supporting this area that we need. Just keep it up. Keep up what you're fucking doing.
Very happy to be here. I do.
Yep.
Okay. So now I know you guys do the
what's next?
Stump Stash.
Oh yes, we haven't done that shit. I skipped that.
Yeah. I was somewhat offended, but I wasn't going to speak up. Thanks for standing up for me, Danny.
You're
Danny.
welcome. You're welcome. If you let me, I have two questions, one for each of you.
Oh boy.
Please.
Yeah. So easy questions. Tad, I know you're into wheelchair accessibility, and equal accessibility for those who can't. That's just the way I could put it right now. So I have a question for you. What is the only section of the Appalachian Trail that is ADA accessible?
I don't have a clue, but I'm going to guess it's that boardwalk section that runs just north of Vernon, Sussex, New Jersey.
Stash, do you have an answer?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so it's in Bear Mountain. It's the only accessible area of the AT that is wheelchair accessible, and also next to a zoo, a currently operated zoo in Bear Mountain Park.
Yep. I used to take my daughters. I used to take my daughters there all the time before I felt they were worthy to hit the trails. So we spent a lot of time. I'm not going to say hiking, but walking through there. And there's the old, I forget whether it was a colonialist or a British fort. Have you seen that in
There's
that area?
two forts there. There's Fort Montgomery, which has ruins you can walk around. And I forget the other name. Montgomery is not next to the zoo. There's one closer to the zoo. But these were active forts. We defended the British against them. Again, we were right under West Point where they had the Great Chain. So the military history there is phenomenal. And they have, I believe there's a 1776 trail that the troops hiked down in 1776. So the history is there is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal history.
Wow.
So I think we've reasonably deflected from the fact that Stosh and I didn't have a clue where so good. We got through that. Stosh, we got through that. High five, buddy.
I have a very large brain trust of friends, Dave, Terry, and Joanne, and we get some great history information. Second question. This is for Stash or for anyone. On the Palisades Parkway, the curbs on the left and the right of the Palisade Parkway, the curbs are angled in a triangle, kind of like a ramp. So you could easily drive into the grass off of the parkway. There's no 4-inch, 6-inch curb stopping cars from hitting the grass. Why is the curb shaped like that?
So that people could get away with killing people on the side of the road. I don't know.
No. You need to put your Brooklyn hat on and think like a member of the Gambino crime family. It's because when you're hauling a body out of the city in the trunk of your Lincoln and you hit the Palisades, you can pull off wherever you want. Just jump the curb because it's really not a curb. You park in the grass and then you just drag the body into the woods and then motor away. So
Dump it right there.
And it goes back to, and I know I'm one of the world's leading authorities on the curb mounting, or what they call mountable curbs along the Palisades. And so when you look back in the history, it was actually constructed by the Genovese crime family.
Educated man here.
Yes, out of Queens. And so Father Genovese himself went to the old Masons in Sicily and brought them over, and they cut that what would be ordinarily Belgian, but then they put a 40-degree cut on either side, so the Lincoln Continental could get over the curbing with the body in the back without scraping the muffler, and then get back onto the highway and back to the city before the meatballs and sauce were done.
I agree.
How did I do, Danny? How did I do?
Very good.
Am I right?
Good. As a Ozone Park, as a previous Ozone Park resident, I would have to give that to the John Gotti's rather than the other family.
Nice.
But yes, you were very close to what it was.
What, you mean I'm wrong after all that? I didn't get it right?
Pretty close.
Okay, so,
I mean, I was just bullshitting. That was just a bunch of BS on my part.
No, it was amazing.
It's late, and it was BS. I don't have a clue. I'm sorry.
It's a simple answer. It's so the park was there first. The highway was meant to join the park. The reason the curbs are angled is so any animals crossing the highway won't get stuck on the road. It's simply for an animal crossing.
Animal accessibility.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Things that they would think about back then, but not now.
Yeah. Nice.
So, Tad, you have one now because Danny has stumped both of us. So you only have one. Select one.
Well, of my three?
Yeah, and we can do the other two when we go this weekend at the expo.
Okay.
We're gonna try to go live this weekend. It's gonna be try.
Oh boy. So I'm gonna be late. All right. So as I said earlier in the show, if any of you have made it this far from the beginning to this point in the show, these questions that I have, and now I'm only going to use one, were the questions that I was surprised that Stosh whacked out of the survey that we're preparing for this weekend. So of the three, I'm going to go with this question. Yes or no? Do you still lie to your partner or spouse about how much money you spend on hiking gear? Yes or no? Do you still lie to your partner or spouse about how much money you spend on hiking gear?
Everybody will say, yes, you do, but I don't. I'll admit she's there right with me when I'm buying this stuff.
She just walked into the room. She's shaking her head.
Nope.
Right. There's I see she's like back and forth. You're in trouble. I think Danny and I need to go, man. You're going to get.
There's no difference between a $9 moisture wicking shirt and a $90 moisture wicking shirt.
Oh no, it's all about the selfie. The $9 one, the selfie just doesn't look that cool. But if you've got that $90 shirt, especially if you get the right shoulder angle with the logo as part of the photo, yeah, right. If you can get that in the Instagram crop or the Facebook crop, it's golden. I mean, you've really pulled off the pro move.
The only thing I don't skip out on is like winter gear. I will go all out and they understand. But anything other than that, I'll buy the cheapest crap because you know what? You just sweat your ass off like today. It was horrible sweat.
Speak for yourself. I don't sweat when I hike.
That's pretty scary. That's scary. You should probably go to the doctor for that.
Yeah.
That's something you should definitely be seeing about.
Stosh, I think that's your mic drop moment.
It is. So excellent.
Calling the MD.
I nailed that for the one for one. All right, I'm fine with that. So once again, thank you, Danny, for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it. Good to have a listener spotlight. We'll get these more often. It was fantastic. Thanks for volunteering. Danny. Yeah, it was. Thanks for volunteering throughout the Catskills. Being an influence. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep please just inspiring people to do the better good, and keep being you. What the hell, right?
Yeah, being a good example.
Exactly.
Right. Thanks, guys. It's been a lot of fun, and don't end the podcast. We love it.
Oh, that's 2 hours and 20 minutes. We gotta end it, money. Come on.
Very cool.
All right.
Very cool.
So thank you to the monthly supporters and monthly sponsors. Really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody who has donated to the show. Really appreciate it. Also, thank you to everyone who is listening to 127 episodes. And Jesus Christ, it's a long time. So once again, thank you, Danny, for participating tonight. Really appreciate it. Hope you had a good time, man.
Totally did. Absolutely. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
All right. So have a good night, Danny. Let's get together on the trail soon, man.
See you all this
Excellent.
weekend.
Yeah, see you this weekend, June 8th, Catskill Expo. Be there.
Hey everyone, I just want to thank you for listening to the show. If you enjoyed the show, subscribe and throw down a smooth review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any podcast platform that you use. You can also check daily updates of the podcast, hikes, hiking news, and local news on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and the official website of the show. Remember this, you gotta just keep on living in the Catskills, man. Livin.
Wicked.